Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
A new habitat has appeared, entirely designed and constructed by one species for its own purpose. These crevices contain the highest density of lizards in the world. And to early visitors, this new world was already home to First Nations people.
My husband Bruce is now in here. You want beer?
I would argue that they're missing the forest for the trees.
A young brain searches for understanding in slow stages, working out what things are and how they work.
And semantically correct.
But no sign of the national emergency.
Out comes a tiny, underdeveloped little worm.
Pretty tranquil down here.
We got to do what we can. We always have.
This is a male, and life here suits him well. This extraordinary creature is half blind, half deaf, and this is just about as fast as it can move.
I've been talking so much.
You might think that this is some kind of circus trick for which she's been specially trained, but not so. She is doing this entirely on her own initiative. She's seen others doing it, and she's copying.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far.
This male has gigantic testes, the largest in the world. They weigh a ton and produce gallons of sperm.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith. Giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news every single night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And right after the show is the Wayne Dupree Show from 8 to 9. So you've got 2 hours of solid information, back-to-back, nonstop news, exposing the real news every single night, Monday through Friday. And again, check down in the description below, folks, for the link for Wayne's show, as well as the Patreon.com. This show is funded completely by Patreons, and I thank you so very, very much for everybody that's been a part of the show for years. And if you like what you hear, crush a share, crush the like, and become a Patreon. Just $1, $5, whatever you can afford per month. Much appreciated. Absolutely be a part of this movement. And underneath that is the link for the iHeartRadio if you want to listen to show audio only, and Telegram. If you're shadow banned like a lot of us are, and you don't get the show, you don't get the notifications, download the app Telegram, and you'll get the show every single night when it goes live. You'll get the link for the Twitter when it's live, as well as Facebook, YouTube's, all of that stuff, all wrapped up, and the show notes. And what's so special about the show notes right underneath Parler, because we're over there on Parler as well, is that you can share the link for the show notes to anybody, or your friends and your family. And this show is actually embedded in the show notes, and that link right there, so they can watch the show, follow along as we go, and we expose the fake news, giving you the real news, as well as the great patriots on Twitter that are not creating the news, but they're creating memes and articles, and they're posting them up on Twitter. And so I go through all of that, and I sift through it all. And I find the best of the best, and I bring it to you guys so you can see it. And if you're trying to start your Twitter account and get followers, absolutely follow some of these great patriots, and most of them will follow you back. Also, the links to the great articles that we're going to talk about. Some places, if you're looking for some places for real news, this is where we'll showcase it. Places like Breitbart.com, Gateway Pundit, and others as well. There's a whole bunch of them in there, and we're going to get to it. So if you're looking for real news or you're looking for a new outlet because you're sick and tired of the fake news, New York Slimes, LA Slimes, Washington Compost, you don't need that stuff. We'll showcase it right here for you guys every single night. And again, today we're going to be exposing the demon rats for who they are. Guys, we got to hammer this home for 2020. Donald Trump's reelection hinges on the lies that the Democrats are telling, hinges on the fact that we have to expose these lies. And we also have to bring to the black community and show them that there are a whole lot of black Americans that are walking away. Hashtag Blexit. Huge movement. Donald Trump was loved by the black community his entire life. And then he goes into office and he gets blasted. Fake news, Democrats, racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. He exposed Baltimore and Elijah Cummings over the weekend. I'm shocked, guys. I'm beside myself because for those of you who've been on the show for a while, you know I blast out Chicago all the time. It's quite easy. The website, heyjackass.com, does an incredible job of documenting the black-on-black crime, the homicides, all that stuff is exposed in the city of Chicago. And I've been looking for other websites to do that for like the city of Los Angeles, Detroit, New York. And I come across one for Baltimore. There is one for Baltimore, guys. And it is just so damning for Elijah Cummings, who's been in office for 37 long years. So, Donald Trump blasting out and exposing Elijah Cummings. And we're going to go over all of that, as well as the body count. I've talked about it before, but we'll get into it in a little bit more detail. The body count having to do with the Democrats, having to do with Hillary Clinton and what really happened. This whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein is in the background causing massive upheaval and uproar, causing people to suicide themselves, or some people refer to it as Clinton-sided. So we'll talk about some of the details there, as well as great Trump news. And I forgot to put it in the show notes, but I'm thinking about it right now. Guys, Donald Trump just won a huge victory with the Supreme Court ruling that, yes, he can build the wall. Donald Trump now receiving more money, billions of dollars to continue building the wall. He's building the wall, and it has got the Democrats just upset and flipped out because he's successful. In the 2.5 years he's been president of the United States, he's actually been successful. More successful in such a shorter amount of time than any president we have ever seen. I'm going to put that down, guys. That's in stone. More progress, more success in 2.5 years than any single president we have ever had in our 243 years of existence. I'd match him up there with George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. No doubt whatsoever, Donald Trump should be on Mount Rushmore with the other 4 Republican presidents. Yeah, in case you didn't know, that's for real. So let's get right into it. And as we jump into the show, I forgot to tell you, I wanted to let you know that the very beginning clip that you saw there at the very beginning of the show was our good friend at The Testy Tar Heel. Instead of watching CNN anchors and political activists defend corrupt politicians, let's take a moment, watch a little nature documentary. That's all fun and jokes, guys. This is how we win against the left because they cannot take a joke. This is great stuff. And as we get started with the show, we've got to highlight Baltimore today because it is turned into a third world crap hole because of the demon rats, the Democrat Party. Lust for power, for money, for wealth. And again, this at real Donald Trump. If racist Elijah Cummings would focus more of his energy on helping the good people of his district and Baltimore itself, perhaps progress could be made in fixing the mess that he has helped to create over many years of incompetent leadership. His radical oversight is a joke. And this at Michelle, she showcases Elijah Cummings' attitude and what he really does in Congress to other people that they're talking to.
Doing our level best in a very...
What does that mean? Come on, man. What's that about? None of us would have our children in that position.
Absolutely, Baltimore on display, and I've got a personal connection to Baltimore. Back when in the 90s when I was in the Air Force, I was actually stationed in Baltimore, Aberdeen Proving Grounds, Baltimore, Maryland. It was an Army post, and it was a pilot program where they were training machinists that were in the Marine Corps and the Army, and they were trying to do a program where they thought that they could save money. The military could save money by training all three branches in the machine shop all at one time. Apparently that doesn't happen. It didn't work out. And I'll be honest with you, that Army post didn't work out either. It was pretty rough, guys, pretty rough. But anyway, so I stayed off base with some friends. And I'm telling you right now, I'm from Cincinnati, west side of Cincinnati. And when I would turn on the news at night in Baltimore, Maryland, I was shocked. This back in the 90s, I'd write home about it. I was shocked. They were talking about the murders. People shot here, people shot there, people shot there, over and over. The nightly news every single night in Baltimore. And that was my eye opener to what Baltimore was all about. And I'm telling you, I saw it firsthand back in the late 90s, 95, 96, right around there. And now fast forward all the way till now, Elijah Cummings been in office for 37 long years. And now we're getting reports where the homicide rate is one of the largest in America. That's some hidden information that Democrats don't want out. That's hidden agendas that they've got to keep quiet. Just absolutely destroying Baltimore. And now we have the mayor of Baltimore in 2018. This, our good friend at Cassie Wears Heels, a great one to follow. Democrat Baltimore Mayor Kathleen Prue, 2018. What the hell? We should just take all this down. Woo, you could smell the rats. Oh, Jesus, my God. You could smell the dead animals.
City leaders identified some of the city's most violent neighborhoods.
What the hell? We should just take all this down.
To target.
Ooh, you can smell the rats.
Under Baltimore's Violence Reduction Initiative.
Ooh, Jesus.
Just last week, we went with Mayor Pugh as she toured an East Baltimore neighborhood.
It's a new one. I've been down here 54 years. It's a new one.
Baltimore's Violence Reduction Initiative is about taking steps to rid communities of the cornerstones that contribute to crime.
Oh, my God. You can smell the dead animals.
Blocks of dilapidated buildings help to hide the addiction that's crippled this
In this
community.
at real Donald Trump, Elijah Cummings spends all his time trying to hurt innocent people through oversight. He does nothing for his very poor, very dangerous, and very badly run district. Take a look. Hashtag Blacks for Trump 2020. And our good friend at W_Terrence. This is Terrence Williams. Great one to follow. Donald Trump retweeted out him and the video that he posted. And Trump is being called a liar and a racist for saying West Baltimore is poorly ran by Democrats. Well, here's a video of West Baltimore. And according to Democrats, this is a beautiful sight. They like to see black people living in filth.
All this for dumping grounds. Yeah. That's terrible, isn't it?
Meanwhile, they're worried about the kids at the border.
Right, exactly.
But this is how actual American citizens gotta live and deal with.
I wonder how the Mexican like.
Yeah, man, now tell me,
it's gotta
me
be
living in this house
them.
with all this, tell me I didn't have rats and rodents. He told me I was lying.
Who?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, that's crazy. Yep. That's common sense.
He told me I was lying. There was no rats and rodents. We just didn't want to pay.
You can see that it's terrible.
Now, over the weekend, New York Slimes came out with an article talking about slumlords and Jared Kushner, the fact that he owns or is part of a big giant conglomerate that this corporation owns 8,000 properties apparently and has complaints and issues or whatnot in Baltimore. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, when you're involved with a corporation of that magnitude, and the article wrote about how kicking people out on the streets and this and that and how heartless and God, I'm going to tell you, you don't pay your rent, you get kicked out. I don't care what you say. You don't pay your mortgage, you don't pay your rent, you get kicked out. The bank, kick you out. Landlord, kick you out. These organizations cannot survive allowing people to stay there rent free. That's what happens. And when they come back on you, and I've had it happen to me too when I was younger, and they come back on you, say you still owe more money when you moved out, and they kept your deposit, well, you got to go to court. I would go to court. I took them to court. I would show up at court, and usually, almost every time, I would get all my money back. A lot of times, the landlords, when you tell them that you're going to show up to court too, and they see you show up to court, a lot of times they don't want to go through that rigmarole. They didn't think you were going to be that kind of person, and they'll give it back to you. Regardless, fake news trying to shift gears and say, well, look at Kushner. Look at the corporation he's a part of and making money off of. No, man. That's not even close to what we're seeing here in the city of Baltimore, run by, you see the mayor there, but then also the district of Elijah Cummings, who screaming and yelling at DHS, children on the border. We won't let our children live in it. This is the awful Democrat Party being exposed. We got it right here on social media, guys. Just exposing it. We have technology at our fingertips where we're able to, in real time, show exactly what the Democrats are doing, show exactly who's involved. I can't find a single one. I was going over it throughout the weekend. I was just kind of thinking about the time in office. Elijah Cummings, 37 years. Maxine Waters, 40. Maxine Waters was born in 1938. Maxine Waters, elected official, born in 1938, came to office, her first time in public office, in the 70s. I think it was like 1978 or something like that. Dianne Feinstein, born in, I think, 1935, been in office for decades, 30, 40 years. Nancy Pelosi, 28, 30 plus years. It is just out of control. Joe Biden, 44 years in office. All told combined, just take a handful of these Democrats, add up their years of service. They've been in office 200 years combined. Donald Trump, 2.5. What are we talking about? Black America, wake up. You got to stop voting for this awful stuff. And some of these videos I saw about Baltimore, some of the people that were talking, some of the Black Americans are begging for help. They got to clean up the city for sure. City officials need to take a hard stance and clean up the city like Mayor Giuliani did in New York. But you can't be asking for handouts. That's not how this country works. That's not how this operates. The more you start giving out handouts to people, the worse things get. And that goes all the way to the top. America giving handouts to South American countries, and what do they do with the money? They keep it. They keep the money. Haiti, Honduras, Guatemala. Well, Haiti's a whole nother different story, though. The Clintons actually raped and robbed that entire country. But that's what happens. Crooked officials that get involved, and we're watching Puerto Rico right now, where corrupt officials are now being charged with crimes for keeping the money. Welfare is no good from the bottom all the way to the top. This at Real Donald Trump. Crazy Bernie Sanders recently equated the city of Baltimore to a third world country. Based on that statement, I assume that Bernie must now be labeled a racist, just as a Republican would if he used that term and standard. The fact is, Baltimore can be brought back, maybe, even to new heights of success and glory, but not with King Elijah and that crew. When the leaders of Baltimore want to see the city rise again, I am in a very beautiful oval-shaped office waiting for your call. Donald Trump calling to help Baltimore. This is our good friend Brandon Tatum at The Officer Tatum. When Trump tells the truth about Baltimore, he is called a racist. Well, here it is from Baltimore residents themselves Truth is not racist. Y'all need to stop. Actually fix this crap.
This is a neighborhood filled with children.
Oh, it's still stuff right
That's
there.
what I was
They
saying.
got matches and stuff.
Whenever you see a pickup truck with stuff on it, I bet you if you follow it, it's going to dump stuff in when they see abandoned spot.
So usually this whole thing
It's a dump
is
ground.
full. But they obviously just came and got it. This is the back. That's the back of the house my dad's doing. Oh, they is still dumping. This is the back of the house. This is where I used to live right here. And
so
all
this
this.
for dumping grounds. That's terrible.
Meanwhile, they're worried about the kids at the border.
This at DG Purser. Elijah Cummings has been in office for 37 years. Also, his wife has received millions and possibly illegal donations from funding by the committee he runs. Who does he serve?
Well, Democrats like Congressman Elijah Cummings say they care about how migrants are being treated at the border. But what about the families and people in their own district? Congressman Cummings was elected to represent West Baltimore, but living conditions at the border are better than most areas in his district. The city lined with abandoned buildings and trash on the streets. Our next guest is a Maryland resident who took these videos to see what it's really like. Joining us now with more Republican strategist Kimberly Klacik. Kimberly, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what did you find was going on in Cummings' district?
Yeah, so, there is a crisis at the border, but there's also a crisis in Baltimore. And I don't think many people realize this, but Congressman Cummings, it represents the most dangerous district in America. So I went into the district to basically ask people if they were scared of Trump. Congressman Cummings said on a talk show on last Sunday, I believe, that his constituents were afraid of Trump. And as I go in and I start talking to people, I realize just what the living conditions are for not just the residents, but even the children there, and what they've been playing around. There's abandoned row homes filled with trash, homeless addicts, empty needles that they have used, and it's really right next door. So it's attracting rodents, cockroaches, you name it. But to have Congressman Cummings talk about the situation at the border is just, it's laughable because the condition is in his own district, and a lot of people said he hasn't even been there.
I mean, it's right here, guys. I got the clips for you. Some of them for Fox News, some of them for people on the ground, citizen journalists, not realizing that some of their videos have gone viral over the weekend. Folks that are just on social media that said, you know what? We're sick and tired of this. We're sick and tired of taking this. And again, guys, these cities are run by Democrats, demon rats, as they've been labeled on social media. We've got to hashtag walk away from these people. This is what's going to get Donald Trump reelected because he's actually making America great again. He hasn't been in office but 2.5 years while these demon rats have been in office, sitting, occupying, acting like kings and queens, dictators, and just soaking up all the city's money. We've got situations in here in Cincinnati as well, as we've got a demon rat, if you will, in office, the mayor of Cincinnati, calling for Cincinnati to be a sanctuary city. And for those of you, and we don't have an overrun population though, but for those of you who think you're going to come to Cincinnati as a sanctuary city, think twice because this is middle America, this is Midwest, and a lot of people carry arms. I'm just saying. You're not going to find Muslims walking the streets. And that's what's so sad is that the citizenry is at odds with the elected officials. We've got to stop electing these people. We've got to change it up and start electing officials that, people that will have our ideologies in mind. And that's why they hate Trump so much. They hate him so much because we elected him because he has the people's ideologies in mind. And that's why he's making America great again. The things that he's doing, he promised he was going to do. We believed him. We voted for him. Promise made, promises kept. Go figure. Nancy Pelosi having a hard problem and tough time. She's now, Donald Trump has helped it though, been tagged with being a part of the Fab Four, if you will, the new demon rats, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar has hijacked the Democrat Party. Nancy Pelosi pretty much just losing power. And this our good friend at Katrina_Weiser, a great one to follow. Pelosi refers to the President Trump as the current occupant of the White House. Nancy officially becomes the Speaker of the Squad. House of Representatives is under control of the Justice Democrats.
Districts and how we represent them, our country, and how we need to meet the needs, the diversity of America, and the challenges we face in terms of issues and how immigration and people are respected. I again referenced Ronald Reagan as opposed to the current occupant of the White House. So I feel...
And this at T-Boots, Michelle on Trump's tweet, what he said was definitely true. Cummings hasn't done anything for us.
Hello, it's me again, world. I was so excited when Ms. Kim told me how many hits that we got and that the president actually responded to a lot of comments. And what he said was definitely true. He hasn't done anything for us. For the last, I think he's been in office over 20 years? 30? Okay, so I was like 18 back then, and he hasn't done anything for us. No cookouts, no shoe giveaway, no clothes giveaway, nothing for the... And then y'all want to know about the houses. He hasn't done anything. Today is Saturday, July the 27th, 2019, not 1819. It's today. It's a little bit after 6 p.m. And like I said, I'm so excited. I'm so impressed with Ms. Kim because she's helping us. And she's the only one. Y'all need to put her in office. Y'all need to give her his job. For real. And I'm just not saying that. It's true. Okay. The house, as far as the house and everything, like I said, he has never done anything for not even one person that I know of. I never heard anybody say anything about him. And people want to talk about Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. Why is this man over there taking care of people at the border? We hungry. We need a place to stay. We feel like we're in a concentration camp, and it's just sad. He worried more about them than his own people. It's just crazy. Excuse me for venting like this, world, but it breaks my heart to see this. It does. This neighborhood, the last time this neighborhood was thriving was 2003. 2003. That's a long time ago. That's a long time ago. And it's just sad. And then they want to take the houses that look nice on the outside. They come around film houses that look nice on the outside, but really don't nobody live in them houses. And they tore up from the floor. Like I said, world, please, we need everybody to get together and represent your neighborhood, whether you live west, east, north, south, way out in west, boom, boom. It doesn't matter. Just support your neighborhood, support your community, take care of each other.
Justice Democrats, folks, is run by the individuals who ran Bernie Sanders' campaign. And if you've heard me talk about that before, they did a very successful job. It's just that Bernie Sanders bought and paid for, dropped out when Hillary Clinton asked him to and said, see, look, I beat you by hook or by crook. Those individuals angry, Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, joined them and helped them and promoted them as well, Justice Democrats, to run puppet candidates, to actually interview and find individuals like AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, train them, take their talents of speaking and being charismatic, run them against old dog Democrats. We saw AOC running against her Democrat that was slated to be the next Speaker of the House, guys. They've gaslit their party. They're so angry. The voters are so angry because the Democrats the four of them combined, 200 years combined, have been lying to their constituents, absolutely lying, promising hope and change. Saw that for 8 years of Obama's reign of terror. No hope and change, getting worse. And now they're desperate, and they're willing to vote for radical socialist Democrats. Justice Democrats taking advantage of that situation and overthrowing the Democrat Party. So far left, so far bad, and this is going to springboard and pull more Black Americans out of the demon rats and bring them to the Trump Party. Guys don't have to say you're Republican. Don't say it. Just say, I love America. I'm a patriot. The party of the patriots with Donald Trump. And now we see more footage of what has happened in Cummins District as Black Americans on the street talking about how much they hate what's going on and talking about how much they love that the President of the United States retweeted their tweet and their video of what looks to be a crap hole. And this at T-Boots, Michelle on Trump's tweets, what he said was definitely true. Cummings hasn't done anything for us. President Trump calling for what absolutely needs to be done. Time for change. These people have suffered enough under Democratic control. Also, Donald Trump retweeted at KT Hopkins, a great one to follow, Katie Hopkins. Trump, Baltimore is a violent place. Highest homicide rate in the U.S. at Baltimore police. Civilian employee assaulted in the streets. Proper asshole. The left tweet a close-up picture of a flower, sharing a hashtag feel better, hashtag we are Baltimore. So let's get into the numbers and what's really going on. Again, I've been talking about Chicago for a long time now. We now have a new website for Baltimore showing the homicide rate in Baltimore. Check in the description below. It's BaltimoreSun.com, and they've put something together that you can actually scroll through it. You can click the date and the time and the spans. I did 30 days, and you could do all the way back to 2007 where they've been keeping track of the homicide rate. USAtoday.com actually wrote an article showcasing Baltimore's new website that shows the homicide rate. And this is an old article. It's from 2018. The homicide rate is on record. Sorry, this is September 2018. Homicide record is on record pace for the deadlier than Detroit and Chicago. And again, Chicago's last Republican mayor, 1931, left office, also known as Big Bill Thompson. And there's a link also for HeyJackass.com. Year to date in Chicago, shot and killed 269. I believe Baltimore is in the 300s. And here's some of the statistics for some of the cities around the country. This is per 100,000 people. We've got St. Louis that beats everybody. Not that I'm shocked by it, but I'm shocked that we haven't heard anything about St. Louis. Per 100,000 citizen, St. Louis, 66 murdered, 66 dead, 66 homicides for every 100,000 in St. Louis. Baltimore, 56 for every 100,000. Detroit, 40 to every 100,000. Memphis, Tennessee, 28. Chicago, 25. Houston, 12. And Boston, 8. So compare all of those to Houston and Boston versus each other. It is just really, really bad. These cities run by Democrats for decades. And now we're seeing right here on social media what has actually transpired over those decades. You could go on to Google Detroit City. They have decimated. That city alone had more money running through that city. I mean, we're talking Detroit Rock City. More money at one point in time running through that city than any single place in all of human history with money running through it. That's how rich Detroit was. And look what the Democrats and the unions were able to do. Absolutely destroy it. Wreck it, ruin it, and destroy it. And this at Pink 9 Lover, and that's 2 Ks in pink. The last time Baltimore had a Republican mayor was in 1967. It's had a liberal city council for nearly 70 years. In 2014, it was so infested with rats, people wanted to destroy it and rebuild it. Today, however, a-holes are suggesting it's Trump's problem. Hashtag MondayMotivation. Now we get into the real story of what's going on in Baltimore. This at Kimberly M1M just filed. Fat rats brought to light. IRS versus Mayor Rocky Moore. Cummings / Center for Global Policy Solutions. The grants were for childhood obesity. Ms. Cummings is the chair, Maryland Dem Party. Stealing from children of West Baltimore, no shame. And at Winston Kofefe, Trump demands investigation into Cummings misappropriating funds in Baltimore. Raise your hands if you want DOJ Attorney General Barr to investigate. This is starpolitical.com. Great article. You're not surprised. I'm not surprised. It is what it is, but we've definitely got to expose these Democrats for who they are and what they're doing. I'd like to see Attorney General Barr get a hold of that and really expose Elijah Cummings. For those demanding Donald Trump's tax returns, just wait till the shoe's on the other foot. Don't rewrite that law. After Donald Trump's out of office, don't rewrite that law in New York. Let's go after all the Democrats and their taxes, showing their taxes. What are they doing? Where are they spending? How did you guys get so filthy rich? How did you get so filthy rich? Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, the single most richest people in the world. The 0.001% of the richest people in the world, desperate to hold on to their wealth and power. We talk about more wealth and power. People try to desperately hold on to it as we look at what used to be the beautiful city of Los Angeles. Just breaks my heart. You guys, I moved out to Los Angeles right after 9/11, part of Hollywood, and got involved as a writer, as an actor, as a model. And it just was, I just couldn't do it, guys. The veil was pulled back. I saw what Hollywood was all about, and it just was not me. Want nothing to do with it. Very disgusting. Lived in Long Beach for a while, had problems in the early 2000s with homeless people that would, in the middle of the night, early morning hours, whatever, would get behind my car in the apartment building we lived in, just defecate right there in the driveway, leave it and toilet paper all of it. This is the early 2000s. Fast forward to now, and I left in 2012. Fast forward till now. We've got people that we're still connected to. We talk to, and it is exponentially worse. And this is our good friend at ATX Patriot. That's a great one to follow. This is Los Angeles, California. Gavin Newsom, governor of California. You have got some explaining to do. Hashtag homeless, hashtag crisis.
Can I ask you a question for an interview? Hey guys, it's Fleckus. This week I'm going to tell you why I'm leaving Skid Row and moving somewhere else. Fleckus Talks.
What's up?
Is it cool if we ask you some questions recorded? What's going on out here? Why is it so crazy out here?
Why it's so crazy out here? Because everybody on drugs.
There are less toilets in Skid Row than there are in the Syrian refugee camps. The homeless here just kind of blow dump on the side of the road. It's very disgusting. Hello.
Hi.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I'm reading, working on my NA book.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start my 12 steps.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's great. Are you out here in this area?
All day, every day.
What's it like out here? How long have you been out in this area?
I've been here since 1985 from Portland, Oregon. I was molested by my father for 9 years. I got sick and tired of it, and I just came here.
Why is everyone allowed to live out in the streets like this? Why isn't the city doing anything about it?
Well, the city, they keep saying that they're going to build more housing, but it's taking too long. And then you got more people that's coming from other, parts of other cities, and they're coming to downtown Los Angeles because of the resources that they hear about, but that is so slow to get by. You know what I mean?
So there's a lot of resources being kind of advertised, but at the end of the day, there's not much to go around.
Exactly.
And there's been a 50% increase in homelessness since 2012.
Yes, it has.
So people from all over the country are heading down here.
Exactly, because they're hearing about this and they're seeing about it on TV and stuff like that. But when they get here, they realize, you understand what I'm saying, it's more difficult than they really think.
The city maybe should be doing more. There's a lot of people on the streets. Do you think it's a resource problem, or do you think it's a mismanagement problem?
I think it's a mismanagement problem.
So there's a lot of money that comes into this area and just never really makes it to the people. No. There's a lot of disease spreading too. Have you seen that?
There's a lot of HIV around here right now. I'm HIV.
Gotta clean these cities up. We've got to get them back on track, and it's going to be painful. And as you see, people are flocking to California, especially Los Angeles, because they hear of the handouts and the money and the homeless. The highest homeless rate is out in Hawaii. Very left-leaning, crazed Hirono out there. Just it's really bad in Hawaii because it's easy to live outside all year round. And the handouts, the money, the freebies. I know out there in Santa Monica, California, you can get up to 3 to 5 hot meals a day. You can get room and board for free. You get whatever you need, money, cash aid, whatever it is. Yes, Santa Monica, California. That's why Santa Monica has also turned into a third world S-hole place, as well as, downtown's exponentially worse. But it's all about the claims of the free handouts. Guys, these free handouts, it don't work. You see what happens. The free handouts do not work, absolutely don't work. Now let's get into the Democrats and what's been going on over the past couple of weeks, the body count, Jeffrey Epstein, everything that's coming to light. Guys, we are in a day and age, and it truly is biblical. Whether you believe in Christ or not, or you believe in God or not, I'm here to tell you guys, I was raised in a church. I fell away from the church in my 20s, my early 30s. My wife is a devout Christian and brought me back into the church. And the church that I am with now has truly opened my eyes to what I never knew about the Bible or Christ. But reading the Bible, getting involved in some of the history about the Bible and historical events, we are living in a biblical time for truly true, with all the information at our fingertips written about in Revelations at the end of times. Also, being able to expose the pedophiles, the rings, the people that dress up in guise as if, they're helping the innocent and they're helping the homeless, they're helping. And in reality, Planned Parenthood, we're helping. But in reality, when we see and expose what's going on, it is just so wretchedly awful. And this at Networks manager, our good friend Bruce Porter Jr., since the news broke of Jeffrey Epstein's getting arrested, 4 New York police officers have committed suicide. He's retweeting his own tweet that said, the world should know of the Clinton body count. So many suicides connected to
the Clintons have a long history of people in their inner circle dying under mysterious circumstances. And since this 2016 election cycle began, at least 3 more people with connections to Bill and Hillary have joined that list, sparking a renewed interest in the so-called body count of people who allegedly got in the way of the Clinton machine. Remember John F. Kennedy Jr.? He was declared the front-runner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C. He supposedly killed himself, and among a lengthy list of potential foul play, the bullet was never found. Then there's James McDougal, a key witness for White House prosecutors. He was serving his 3-year sentence for bank fraud at the Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was to give a testimony before the grand jury, McDougal suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement. In 2015, Walter Scheib, a White House chef hired under Bill Clinton, joined the list. His body was found at the bottom of a river, nearly 2 miles from the base of the trail he was reportedly hiking. An autopsy determined that Scheib's death was accidental drowning, but he might have known too much. 27-year-old Democratic National Committee staffer Seth Rich was shot and killed in D.C. this year. There is speculation that he was the source of the controversial leaked emails allegedly sent by DNC staffers, and that he may have been murdered in retaliation. Then Sean Lucas, the lead attorney in a fraud case against the DNC, was found lying on the bathroom floor by his girlfriend when she returned home on August 2nd. His death was reported classified, pending the results of an autopsy. To this day, questions remain surrounding these and other deaths of people who were...
And this, our good friend at Jelly_Cat. Does anybody really think this is a coincidence? In just 2 months, 5 New York Police Department special ops officers die of suicide. This is a bunch of bull. You know it. I know it. We all know it. What did these people know that got them killed? Absolutely, guys. It needs to be looked into. I really wish they'd reopen Seth Rich's murder. That one's really disturbed me and got me bothered. We've seen videos come out undercover, guys that disguise their voice and mask them so that they're not seen But the individual talks about how he was part of this organization and he knows the people that actually called for the hit on Seth Rich because they believed that Seth Rich was, when he was going to go meet with the FBI, was actually going to meet with the FBI to turn evidence on them, not realizing he was turning evidence on the Clintons. But nevertheless, you get that out of the way, murder him and get rid of it. They found out that he was going to the FBI because they've got the FBI tapped. That's how high this goes, guys. It is really, really bad. And some more unveiling and pulling back the curtains. We've got it right here, guys. Crush the share, crush the follow. Down in the description below. Make sure you go over to Patreon, become a Patreon. Help us to continue breaking the news and getting out the information that nobody's talking about. We're talking about stuff that you'll never hear. You're not even going to hear this on Tucker Carlson's show, man. I'm just saying, although I do like Tucker. This at Tiff_Fitzhenry, the longtime special assistant to Mother Teresa, Mark Bloomfield, 54, was beaten to death yesterday outside a pub in Wales. He worked with children in Africa and India for her foundation. To me, his death sounded like a hit. So I started doing some digging. 1 year ago, late Mother Teresa's order investigated for child trafficking in India. India ordered its state government to inspect child care facilities run by the missionaries and charities. I always wondered why the Catholic Church rushed to canonize Mother Teresa after her death. Turns out, child trafficking, selling babies, and funneling between $50 to $100 million a year to the Vatican. Mother Teresa's connections include baby Doc Duvalier, the Haitian dictator, savings and loan criminal Charles Keating, and Robert Maxwell, the father of Jeff Epstein's child sex traffic partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's the kicker. Mother Teresa opened the D.C.-based home for infant children with none other than Hillary Clinton. This orphanage of sorts was quietly closed in 2012. We've got to expose this. We've got to see this for what this is. And Donald Trump stopping child trafficking like no other president has ever gone after. They're not talking about it because they're the ones that are being brought to justice. Donald Trump, absolutely no tolerance, no stomach, no nothing for none of these demon rats. Exposing them right here every single night. This is what we've always known it to be. I'm not going as far as some people bring up to me, Brian, what about Pizzagate? Like, okay, hold on. The guy that owns Conman Pizza, yeah, definitely a pedo. We don't have any other evidence otherwise, so let that go for now until investigations, bring up further information and news. But we have world-renowned publications writing about this, guys. Newsweek.com, NPR.org, globalnews.ca, telegraph.co.uk, just on and on and on. This, the Washington Examiner, Weekly Stand. Guys, these are real publications publishing these articles about the Clintons, the connections, Mother Teresa, God rest her soul. I have no excuse. I have no ideas. I'm just like, wow, this is truly disturbing. We're living in biblical times. Like I said, this is the world of Satan. And as we turn the corner at Brian P. Smith, I put this out over the weekend, this realclearpolitics.com. Clapper. Yeah, Barack Obama ordered the intelligence assessment of that resulted in the Mueller investigation. So I just had to let you guys know about that. And I told you guys I wasn't going to talk about this anymore, but Donald Trump retweeted a video of Mark Levin. You absolutely have to hear it. It is just
we don't have news reporters, not on CNN and MSNBC. New York Times, you can't tell the editorial page from the news page. Mistake after mistake after mistake in reporting. Washington Post, New York Times, they get Pulitzer Prizes. And they got more Pulitzer Prizes. CNN has to fire 3 fools for putting out information that was fake, and yet the head of CNN, Zucker, what do you expect us to do? We have to investigate these things. This is the greatest scandal in American history. Not that the Russians tried to interfere with our election. They did, and they always do, the way Obama interfered with the Israeli election. But the Obama administration also interfered with this election. And I've been saying for 2 years, There is no way in hell the President of the United States and the people in the Oval Office didn't know something about this. Now, how do we know? Because it was in the newspaper. When I came to you 2 years ago, March, and I laid the case out with exhibit after exhibit after exhibit. The system isn't working. The checks and balances aren't working. Where are these federal judges that were appointed as FISA court judges? Where are they? They see what's taken place. They see they were lied to. They see that was opposition research and dishonest, lying opposition research that was put in a dossier used by the FBI to get a warrant. Where's the evidentiary hearings? Where's the contempt hearings? Where are these federal judges? They ought to abolish the FISA courts because they don't work. Because the only people in that courtroom, in that secret courtroom, is the FISA judge and the government. And the government, the targets, they have no say whatsoever. Which brings me back to this pathetic joke of a report. 400 pages of what? BS. We already knew there was no collusion. No evidence whatsoever. And yet they conduct a federal investigation? When Mr. Mueller came up to other violations, he says, tax fraud, this fraud, those are U.S. attorney investigations. You don't have a special counsel for that. So basically, there was no reason to appoint Mueller. And Mueller found nothing. That's the headline. No collusion, despite what the FBI did, despite what the Department of Justice did, despite what these FISA judges did, despite what the Obama administration did, despite the Hillary campaign and the DNC. No collusion. That's the headline. And instead, obstruction of justice. There's obstruction of justice. Was the president charged? No. Well, why wasn't he charged? Well, you can't indict a sitting president. Really? Who came up with that idea? I was the one who explained you can't indict a sitting president. So if you can't indict a sitting president, why do you appoint a special counsel to conduct a criminal investigation of a president? If we all agree you can't indict a sitting president, why do they appoint one anyway? Why did they appoint one? Because Chuck Schumer demanded it. The Democrats demanded it. James Comey, Mr. Leaker, he demanded it. So they demand it, and you get a special counsel? And who do they pick? Mueller. And who's Mueller? He's best friends with Comey. Oh, that makes sense. And with all due respect, Mr. Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein, if the president was under investigation, you should have been too, because you're one of the ones who recommended that he fire Comey. And let's be honest, Comey should have been fired. His conduct was outrageous, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. The whole senior level of the FBI is gone. Almost all of them are under criminal or independent counsel investigation. Trump didn't do that. They're under investigation. The senior level of the FBI, I've never seen anything like it. We were told the President of the United States was going to fire Mueller. We even had some Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee join with Democrats and said, we need to pass legislation to protect Mueller. Did the President fire Mueller? No. We were told that there would be a Saturday night massacre, like there was in Watergate. That once the President fired Comey, he'd go right down the list and fire the rest of them. Did he? No, he didn't.
Thank you, Donald Trump. Greatest president we have ever had. Also retweeting out Kevin McCarthy, standing up for Donald Trump. Been doing a great job at GOP leader. Kevin McCarthy, phenomenal. Jim Jordan, phenomenal. All these folks that are in office that are just standing with the president. Couldn't ask anymore. Thank you so much. Donald Trump hijacking the GOP. And our good RNC chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, doing just a fantastic job. And Donald Trump News at Joy Reaper, great one to follow, super elite Space Force pilot, cosmonaut. The Democrats are clowns, says Donald Trump.
These people are clowns. The Democrats are clowns. They're being laughed at all over the world. And I watched this morning, Nancy Pelosi trying to get through that with the performance that Robert Mueller put on, where I don't think he ever read the agreement or the document. And the document said no collusion. They don't even talk about that. So there was no crime. They said, well, there was no crime, but he obstructed. How do you obstruct? There's no crime. But actually it was worse than that because it was a phony crime that they put on. The crime was what they put on. But I watched Mueller. For 2.5 years we've watched this. And that's the best they have. And it's a disgrace. and the world is laughing at him. And unfortunately, it's so bad for our country. It's bad in our relationships with other countries, including Russia. There's no reason we shouldn't get along with Russia. There's no reason we shouldn't get along with other countries. And one of the things that's nice about Guatemala is we've never had a better relationship. Right now, they've agreed to do something that's very good for the United States. And we're going to work with them also. It's going to be a partnership. And it's happening with Mexico, too. We never had any kind of cooperation with Mexico, ever, until this president, frankly, and my presidency.
At real Donald Trump. Under this administration, African-American unemployment, the lowest, best in the history of the United States. No president has come close to doing this before. I also created successful opportunity zones, waiting for Nancy and Elijah to say, "Thank you, President Trump." This had heads exploding over the weekend as Trump tweeted out, "Consideration is being given to declaring Antifa, the gutless radical left whack jobs who go around hitting only non-fighters, people over their heads with baseball bats. A major organization of terror along with MS-13 and others would make it easier for police to do their job." And as we see at Lori Ray, thank heavens Georgia's willing to lead the charge. We are in the battle for the future of our culture and our freedom. Georgia becomes the first state to ban Muslim culture in historic move to restore Western values. And lastly, our good buddy at McGuire Scotty, UK, new joke. So a Muslim, a gay, and a liberal meet on the streets. Yes. For those of you audio only, it's a Muslim dressed in total garb, head to toe, screaming at someone with a gay pride flag wrapped around their neck, and a city worker trying to separate the two of them. Guys, we got it right here, and you're watching the original series from New Right Network, SmythTV, your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news media for who they are, and giving you the real news, as also giving you Donald Trump, our president, his words specifically every single day, busy over the weekend. And we are here fighting for the freedoms of America, fighting to continue Donald Trump's Making America Great Again agenda, continuing to keep America great. And that's what all your patronage is and your donations do to help continue this show. Takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, usually about 8 to 10 hours a day. And then usually a couple more hours being on Twitter with you guys and retweeting and commenting and being a part of it. So it takes a lot of my time. This is my only job. This is my full-time job, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, SmythTV, producing the show, editing the show, and then putting the show out there on social media. And again, down in the description below, the link for the show notes will take you over to newrightnetwork.com. When you're there, the embed for the video of the show is right there in the show notes, as well as all the notes and all the links for the great patriots and all the articles that we showcase. Crush the share, crush the follow, copy that link, send it to your friends and your family so that they can be a part of this incredible movement of making America great, keeping America great, and watching real news and exposing the Democrats. You tell me, you guys, somebody DM me, somebody email me, brian@smyth.tv. Somebody email me. Let me know if you see anywhere on the mainstream TV, even on Rush Limbaugh or talk shows, wherever. Email me. Get a hold of me. Let me know. Description below. I mean, you could start to message while the show's going live. Who else has brought you these stories about Mother Teresa's organization and the child trafficking and the connections to the Clintons and the Epsteins? I don't know anybody, guys. So again, for Monday Motivation, Donald Trump doing one hell of a job to make America great. Press the share, press the follow, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts. Peace out.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.